Okay, guys, I'm going to be doing quite a few problems. I'll start with expanding, and then we'll do some condensing with logs, and hopefully this will be good enough to help you guys. Here we go. So, that one's a condensed, so we'll save that one for later. Here we go. Expanding. So, guys, it's this simple, okay? Logs are inverse of power functions, right? So we all know, for example, that if I took x squared times x3, I would get x5. Why? Because I added 2 plus 3 to get 5. So with multiply, it's adding, correct? If, let's say I had x5 divided by x4, you know that's x or x1 because I would have done 5 minus 4 to get 1. So divide is minus. And finally, if I gave you, let's say, x3 to the 2 power, hopefully you know that's x6. Why? Because when you have a power on a power, you actually multiply. Now, because logs are inverses of power or exponential functions, they basically have the same rules. So let's start with this one right here. Notice that I have a power on this log here. So I immediately know that with power, it becomes a multiply. So basically what I did is I bring the 6 in front. The 6 power in front becomes a multiply. Now what? If you look inside my parentheses, it's a times. Well, what do we do with times is we add, right? That's what we did with powers. Now, keep in mind that this is a 6 log base 3. So I have a 6 log base 3 of 7 plus, see the times became the plus, 6 log base 3 of 6 to the 4. And we're done, except there is another power here, which I can bring in front and make it into a multiply. So my final answer is 6 log base 3 of 7 plus this 6 times that 4 power, which I bring down, is 24 log base 3 of 6. And that's basically how you expand. Okay. Notice the power here. What are we going to do? The power comes in front and it becomes a multiply. So we have 2 log base 9 of x to the 6 over y. Now that we've done that, if we look inside our log here, that is a divide there, right? A fraction. Well, divide is subtract. So this becomes 2 log base 9 of x to the 6 minus. So this divide right here becomes a minus 2 log base 9 of y. And if you look, we're done, except there is a 6 power, which we can bring in front and multiply with that 2. So the 6 times a 2 is 12 log base 9 of x minus 2 log base 9 of y. Okay, let's do a few more expand, and we'll do some condensing, which is the same thing going backwards. All right, notice this one has a couple times right there, which will become pluses. Remember with exponents, when you multiply exponents together, you add, right? So we have a log base 7 of the u. That times again became a plus. Log base 7 of the v. That times with a w3 became log base 7 of w to the 3rd. And if you look, that and that, you can't do anything more. This has a 3 power, which we'll bring in front. and multiply. So we have a log base 7 of u, log base 7 of v, plus 3 log base 7 of w. So times becomes plus, divide becomes minus, powers become multiply. All right, we're going to skip that one for later. That one's another condense. All right, let's do at least one more of these expanding. The 6th power comes in front as a multiply. Okay, now if you look in here, we have a times, right? And we have another power which we'll take care of once we get it separated. Now remember, a times becomes a plus. So I have the 6 log base 3 of a plus 6 log base 3 of b to the 6. And as I just mentioned a moment ago, the 6th power can come in front and multiply with that 6. So our final result is 6 log base 3 of a plus 6 times 6 is 36 log base 3 of b. All right, that's a similar log, so we're not going to do that one. Guys, natural log, just treat like any other log. That one's very similar. This one's a little different, I guess. Let's do this one. This will be the last expand, and we'll do some condensing. So, notice this one, guys, basically has this divided by that. That divide right there means we're going to make it into a minus. Remember, with divide, you do divide with exponents with minus. So we have a log base 6 of 10 to the 5 minus log base 6 of 7 to the 4. Now we could take care of these powers right here. We bring them in front and make it multiply. So we have a 5 log base 6 of 10 minus 4 log base 6 of 7. So divide becomes minus, powers is times. If there was a times in there somewhere, we'd make it into a plus. Okay, that one is another expand, but I think we've done one similar to that, so I think I'll skip that to save time. All right, now this one's a condense. Let's try this one. So guys, notice we have this log base 7 of c. We have a plus here with another log base 7 of a divided by 3. We have another plus. They're all log base 7. That's what you have to notice. Now, the first thing we're going to do, though, is this. I'm going to rewrite it. And these divide 3's I'm going to make into 1/3. Okay. I'm going to put it in front as a fraction. Does everyone agree dividing by 3 is the same thing as doing 1/3 of something? I hope you understand that. Now what? Well, we can now, because of the pluses, and actually I'm getting ahead of myself, let's take care of the times first. Do you agree times means we can bring them up and make them into powers? Now, guys, let me make this very clear. I'm doing expanding backwards. So now multiply becomes a power. Adding becomes a times. If there was a minus, it would become a divide. Okay, so we're going to do that first. So we have the log base 7 of c plus still. We're going to bring this 1/3 up. So log base 7 of a to the 1/3 plus, bringing this 1/3 up, log base 7 of b to the 1/3. Now let's take care of the pluses by making them into times. So we have the log base 7 of c times with a to the 1/3 times with, this plus here's another times, b to the 1/3. And guys, there's your answer. Now, you need to talk to your teacher, though. he or she accept rational powers, or do you need to change them into radicals? Because these I could go ahead and change into cube roots. 1/3 powers cube root. So another option would be log base 7 of c cube root of a times with the b. And again, because both of these are 1/3 powers, you get a cube root of a times a b. But now discuss this with your teacher, please. All right, let's do a couple more condensing, and then hopefully we got this down. Here we go. So guys, notice how this one has a 4 and a 2 timesing it. Let's bring them up as powers. So we have the log base 5 of a to the 4 minus log base 5 of b to the 2. Again, all I did was take the times here and here, bring it up as powers. We're doing expanding backwards. We're putting everything back together again, condensing it. Now, we have a minus here. Well, that means I'm going to take the log base 5 of a to the 4 and divide, because minus came from divide, b to the 2. And guess what? We're done. So with condensing, everything is backwards. Times becomes a power. Minus becomes a divide. All right, take a look at this one. Times becomes a power. Times becomes a power. So I have the log base 2 of x squared now, plus the log base 2 of y squared. I took this and this, brought them up as powers. Now, what about the plus? Plussing came from when we multiplied, right? So I know I'm going to do the log base 2 of x squared times with y squared. So times became a power. The plus became a multiply. Okay, times becomes a power. Times becomes a power. So this is what we have. Log base 2 of x squared plus log base 2 of y to the 5. The plus here becomes a times. So log base 2 of x squared times y 5. All right, guys, I did a good mix of expand and condense with log functions. Please study hard. You can do this, guys. Let me know if you have any more problems you'd like me to do, okay? Take care. See you around.